Good evening, everyone. My name is David Shoemaker, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to a very special celebration. Now, before we get started, there's something that's causing me a little bit of concern and trepidation, and I thought maybe some of you might be able to help me out. I happened to step outside earlier today, and there was a bright white disk in the sky giving off heat and light. And I don't know, should I be concerned about this? If any of you have any insight as to what this might be, maybe you can see me after the event, so I'd appreciate it. 16 years ago, ladies and gentlemen, a group of concerned citizens got together in response to a challenge that grew out of the 1994 ICSD strategic plan, looking for ways to take advantage of community resources in order to ensure the success of all of the students in the district. Those people formed a task force which met over the fall of 1995 and the winter and spring of early 1996. And out of those meetings, the Ithaca Public Education Initiative was born. Are there any members of that founding task force in the audience tonight? If there are, would you please stand up and be acknowledged? Ladies and gentlemen, these are the visionaries that got us to where we are this evening. Thank you very, very much. By the summer, by the summer of 1996, IPEI had been incorporated as a nonprofit community foundation, and its all-volunteer board of directors had met for the first time. It has been my privilege to serve on that board for, I don't know, I stopped counting, something like 6 years. And to be associated with a wonderful group of people who inspire me with their dedication, their commitment, their hard work, and their willingness to give of their time without asking anything in return, all because they believe in public education in Ithaca. Any current or former members of the IPEI Board of Directors in the audience tonight, please stand up and be acknowledged. You will not meet a finer group of people, ladies and gentlemen. Now, of course, any organization is only as strong as the people behind the scenes who support it with their own hard work and their own dedication, and we are blessed at IPEI to have a truly dedicated group of people who volunteer for us, people who serve as liaisons to the schools and the communities. So I would ask all of those people who work with us at IPEI as volunteers or liaisons, please stand up. Now, of course, the real heroes in this story, as in any story about education, are the teachers and the school staff. We are here to serve you. We are here to make sure that you are able to do your jobs better. So all the teachers in the audience and all the school staff in the audience, please stand up. And of course, they wouldn't be able to do their jobs without people in the community who volunteer, who serve on the PTAs, who volunteer in the classrooms, who serve as mentors. So all of you in the audience who serve as volunteers in the community. Please stand up. You have to excuse me, I'm just getting over, I have a different way of going about getting a flu shot. I just get the flu every fall, and then I'm good to go for the rest of the winter. So if I'm coughing a little bit, you'll have to excuse me. Now, none of this would be worth a darn, except for the kids in the schools that benefit from all of this hard work, the students themselves. All the students in the audience, stand up. And where would this, see, there I go. Where would the students be without the parents, the guardians, the family members who get them up in the morning, who get them dressed, who pack their lunches, who get them off to the school bus, who drive them to school? All the parents, family members, guardians in the audience, stand up. Now, it has always been part of IPEI's mission to foster connections between school and community. And we can't do that without willing members of the business community and the community at large who are willing to partner with teachers to enhance curriculum in the schools. So all of you, community members, business partners, who've worked with us, who've worked with teachers to help make these exciting curriculum projects come to life, please stand up. One of the initiatives one of the initiatives at IPEI that we are most proud of is the Kids Discover the Trail initiative. This is an opportunity for every student in the district in grades pre-K through 5 to visit all 7 destinations of the Discovery Trail. So, Discovery Trail members in the audience, please stand up. And last but not least, and before I lose my voice entirely, we are privileged at IPEI to work with 2 organizations that we partner with. I'm talking about the Fine Arts Booster Group that supports the arts in the schools through grants and a number of other programs, and the Code Red Robotics program that gives students hands-on experience with engineering projects. They build a robot. You may have seen it out there in the lobby every year. They take that robot all over the state and even out of the state to compete in competitions. So, all members of the Fine Arts Booster Group and the Code Red Robotics program, please stand up. One of the signature programs of IPEI is its Teacher Grant Program, which now awards grants in amounts up to $1,500 to fund these kinds of exciting, innovative curriculum projects that must involve a community partner. And over the years, we have awarded such grants to teachers in every school in the district to address every subject matter, from music to literature, from science to geography, from history to art. And we are delighted this evening to welcome one such grant recipient, Ms. Randy Beckman. Randy is a first-grade teacher at Bell Sherman Elementary School. Last year, she partnered with a music teacher from Ithaca College named Brian Damaris. Sorry. And together, they put together a CD of songs sung by the students in Randy's class called Songs of the Sunflower Room. And tonight, they will sing 2 songs from that CD. Ladies and gentlemen, Randy Beckman and the Sunflower Room Singers. Randy Beckman and the Sunflower Room Singers. One of the things that we wanted to do this evening is to give you all a sense of how this whole thing got started. So it's my pleasure now to give you a chance to hear from those people in their own words who put this whole thing together, the visionaries who made it happen, so that you have a sense of where we came from and where we're going as we look forward from these 15 years.
My wife, Claire, and I were the catalyst for the formation of what would become IPEI. In 1994, we made a $2,000 donation to the Boynton Middle School. $1,000 was for the teachers to use as any way they saw fit for the improvement of education at Boynton. The other $1,000 was to establish a fund for future school needs. As it turned out, the Ithaca City School District didn't know exactly how to handle our donation, even though our intentions were clearly stated. The school board decided that this notion of donating money to our schools was important, and it included it on the agenda of its strategic planning committee. The committee directed that a task force be set up to develop proposals for establishing something akin to a school foundation so that donations like ours could be utilized effectively. And so began the formation of IPEI.
IPEI was founded because of the vision of several community members who got together and said, these foundations exist in other communities and other places around the United States with certain models. And we looked at each other and we said, why couldn't we try that? We have energy, we have community members, we have people who are longing to be involved with the school district, children, teachers, support. There isn't a reason why something like this couldn't work here.
Ithaca's a wondrous and strange community, as everyone knows, and IPEI filled a real need for people who wanted to get engaged. And IPEI was a way of raising money, not to supplement, but to complement what goes on in the schools. And the result was a lot of people became engaged in ways they might otherwise have done. A lot of people had a continuing conversation about the school.
This was the early vision of the IPEI. We had identified a need. We had very little, if no resources to pursue this need. And slowly, the community, as they gained trust and understood what we were going to be doing, came forth with great generosity to improve our local education.
We came to a day when we were going to give it a name. And I'll always love Melissa Seigel. She was the head of the United Way at the time. And she came up, we were going to call it the Ithaca Public Education Foundation. And she said, that sounds clearly like another fundraiser, just another fundraiser. Why don't we call it an Ithaca Public Education Initiative?
Memories. Wow, the Ithaca Public Education Initiative. I remember being interested in interviewing for the superintendency during the spring of 1996. And during that process, I learned that there was a committed group of community members who were looking to form a foundation. And it was really very exciting to me and inspiring, I felt, because it showed a commitment on the part of community members, whether they be business, not-for-profit, parents, retirees. It was just an excellent show of the confidence that people had in the school system, in the children of this community.
Over in Vestal, they had set up a similar plan. And believe me, I had no knowledge that they were that close. But being close, I called them up and I made a date and went over and talked to them about how did they raise the money and how did they spend the money, including their favorite fundraiser was a spelling bee.
I remember when IPEI first started, one of the guiding principles was, it's got to be hard work and it's got to engage the community, but it's got to be fun. Because if it isn't fun, you're not going to get a bunch of volunteers to want to do it.
From the outset, it was clear that the spelling bees would be successful because of Chuck Broadhead, a founding and very active IPEI board member. He knew how to communicate with people. It was his leadership and enthusiasm that convinced the right people and organizations to support this event.
From the very first bee, the funds were distributed for grants for teachers, and they were $300 grants that were given out to teachers. The applications were very simple, but getting the word out, explaining to teachers what we were trying to do was an all-encompassing and very difficult prospect in the very beginning.
So the board at that time came up with the idea that the recipient would have to have a program that met some need of the community. So the student gets the value of interacting with some contemporary issues in the community, and the community gets the benefit of having that teacher become more interested and more skilled in relating to the community.
We all knew that Tompkins County, Ithaca, has incredible people, human resources, and as much as we needed a way to get these resources into the schools, we felt the resources were also really hankering for a way to get themselves exposed in the schools.
If I were to add one more thought, I believe it would be to thank those teachers who early on also shared the trust in our vision, who came forward with the applications for the various mini-grant proposals that we were able to fund with the little that we had.
The boosters, along with Code Red Robotics, are affiliates of IPEI. IPEI makes connections and collaboration possible. IPEI waters great ideas in education. And this is what happened with the Fine Arts Booster Group. Almost 10 years ago, a group of concerned citizens, teachers, parents, administrators got together to discuss how to support the arts in the district. But we had no not-for-profit home. This is where IPEI stepped in and provided the umbrella for the booster work to continue. Our shared mission of cooperation and collaboration made this relationship make sense.
The original idea, which lives on today concerning the mission of IPEI, which is to truly connect school and community. Out of a roundtable discussion that happened several years ago, it was noted that the Discovery Trail, as a very unique opportunity within our community, should have more exposure to students within the school district. Thereby came about the concept of linking each grade from elementary school with one of the 7 Discovery Trail sites and the public library, with a curriculum-based, wonderfully prepared experience.
I am so impressed with all that has been accomplished over the past 15 years. It is very exciting to see how many additional needs have been addressed in so many interesting and exciting ways. Given this clear record of success, who would not want to support IPEI's commitment to continue connecting school and community?
We want to be here in 15 more years, and to do that, we have to transition our organization from a small group of volunteers to a more permanent kind of structure.
We hope that Ithaca will now understand that if a small percentage of IPEI's funds goes towards administrative needs, it is for long-term sustainability. We hope IPEI has gained the trust of the community to continue its good work on behalf of our students, teachers, and community.
For those of us who want good schools, we pay taxes for that. We don't have a choice in it, of course, but we pay taxes. IPEI is a choice. You don't have to do it. And by being a choice, it takes on a more enthusiastic air.
I think that IPEI has been evolving over the 15 years and has reached higher and higher potential, but I believe very strongly that it will continue to grow and will continue to be even a greater force in the lives of the children.
We're really pleased about this vision because it is going to be appropriate for all children in the district. This kind of education where kids are engaged in problem solving and creative thinking in groups collaboratively is going to mean that every child gets to participate in this.
We're able to look forward, and we're looking forward to the next 15 years.
Thank you, IPEI.
'15 and Forward is dedicated to our founders and all current and former IPEI volunteers, and to the memory of Henry Tyson and Chuck Broadhead. IPEI greatly appreciates the assistance of 3D Cinemation, the Ithaca City School District, and the Hangar Theater for our anniversary celebration.
night, I think, if we didn't take a moment to acknowledge the contributions of our friend Chuck Broadhead, a founding member of the IPEI Board of Directors, a man who was a part of that board from the very beginning, right up until the point that his health no longer allowed him to participate. We miss him, and we thank him for all that he contributed to this effort. So now you know a little bit about where we came from. You might wonder, well, what about the present? Who is IPEI now? And to help us answer that question, we have invited 6 members of the community, 3 teachers, 3 members of the community at large who know us well. I'll invite you to please make your way up to the stage while I introduce you. They are Sharon Nelson, who is a 3rd grade teacher at Caroline Elementary School, Andrea Volkmar, who is a social studies teacher at DeWitt Middle School, Millie Clark Maynard, a 2nd grade teacher at B.J. Martin Elementary School, Bill Foster, aka the Science Monster. Bill is the program manager for the Cayuga Heights, or for the Cayuga Lake Floating Classroom, Charlie Troutman, executive director of the Science Center, and Jeanette Shady of Keonix, which is a high-tech firm located out at the airport. So I'm going to turn the program over to these folks, and they're each going to tell you a little bit about what IPEI means to them.
I have been teaching for almost 13 full years, 12 of which were at Caroline Elementary School, 3rd and 4th grade. I am honored and pleased to see all my buddies out there. I started in Ithaca with Jennifer at the Cat's PJs before I got a teaching job. Thanks, Jen. And she kicked me off to the great idea and all these people helping out teachers. So I am happy to say that although I've left Caroline and now work at BJM, I'm always brewing up the new IPEI grant. Through Fine Arts Booster Group and IPEI, I have learned that my teaching has changed. I'll tell you a quick story. My husband, Mark Nelson, at Ithaca High School, came home one day and he said, this group named IPEI just bought me 35 sets of hip waders for my science group. And we're going to go in the creek and collect data and real crayfish and macroinvertebrates. So I said, hey, that sounds cool. And he said, I got that because I asked. And to this day, 350 children have been in those waders thanks to IPEI. And Mark says he wishes he could be here tonight. He's home with the kids. Grants have helped me to write more innovative and more engaging projects for my students. Think of these words: the Hobgoblin, Spider-Man, graphic novels, digital cameras, Samate of Uganda, Mutoto the gorilla, Beauty and the Beast storytellers, mural painting, and hangar integration project. The grants I've written are related to arts integration because I know that my students are far more engaged when they are connecting with the outside world and learning skills that will help them for the rest of their life. For example, my first grant was with Roger Stern. He is a famous creator of the Hobgoblin character for Spider-Man. He's a world-famous writer for Spider-Man and Superman. Roger lives right in Ithaca, and with Comic for Collectors, we ended up bringing him to our 4th grades. And the kids were more Jeep than I've ever experienced in my entire teaching career. From that level of engagement came 6 other grants. The most recent that I've worked through was the Hangar Integration Grant Project, the HIP Arts, at Caroline. We started a really exciting pilot arts integration program at Caroline. It's directed currently to 3rd grade, but it will expand into all grades at Caroline. It will continue, hopefully, with your support and love and care to all elementary schools in the district. This is an arts integration project that has an artist that comes in up to 10 to 12 hours a time and works with our 3rd graders to teach them how to make inferences and draw conclusions in ways that are outside of the usual routine of a school day. They come in and they work closely with an artist. I also wrote 2 grants involved Samate of Uganda. He's a very professional local African musician from Uganda, of course, and he's also well noted for his photographs and his work with gorillas. He has written Mutoto the Gorilla, a children's book. He came to our classes and at school to work with the children and teach them how to write children's picture books. He worked with us to dance and sing and learn about Africa, especially Uganda, and he remains a good friend, and his wife helps him write his picture books. Many people know Beauty and the Beast storytellers. They've worked around the world for years, and they did 4 workshops with our 3rd graders and have been working in the city of Ithaca for many years to teach our kids the art of storytelling. I see engagement at a level that I cannot match as a single human. These kids, when they work with these people, including muralists that Mary Beth Inkin, they get so excited. They want to share with the world. And they present to the world after we do it. They want people to take pictures of them and share and talk about what they've done. We designed a mural all the way down the 3rd, 4th, 5th grade wing. And Ms. Clark, Janie Clark, I know you're here. I hope you get to see that soon. These activities are so life-changing for kids over the years. My past students have actually stopped me in the halls to tell me that the only thing that they truly, really remember for all the years they've been at Caroline is the work that they did with the IPEI grant money and grant partners. I'm super excited to think up new projects that enhance the lives of all students and teachers. I got one brewing now, actually, and I'm thankful that IPEI exists, and I credit them for helping to excite me and year after year make me a more innovative teacher. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Andrea Volkmar, and I'm at DeWitt Middle School as a social studies teacher in grades 7 and 8. Ever since I became aware of IPEI as a force with traction and resources in the community, I've been applying for grants, and I think I've gotten one every year that I was in Ithaca since I became aware. When I heard the video, I realized that it wasn't right at the beginning because it took time for people to really get to know that they were out there. So I appreciate very much what it took to get there. We were asked to speak about why it is that we love IPEI. So I've put together 3 points on that. One is that as a teacher trying to find a way to make experiences of learning wonderful for kids, you're straining every nerve every day to try to scoop up every child, to try to connect with every single one, whether they're having a rough day or whether they're lacking motivation that year or whether they're so fired up that they're fizzing in every direction. And it's good to feel that IPEI is out there cheering you on and encouraging you to find ways of putting a little extra something into it and providing the resources to make that happen. So it's like a warm-hearted gift from the community, and I love that about it. Another thing that I love about IPEI is that it's like a really reliable dance partner. You want to try tango this year? They say, yeah, you're my dance partner. You got a good idea, you want to learn the steps, let's give it a go. Writing grants is not a picnic, as many of you know. And I wrote grants to other organizations at various times, you know, big ones like Disney and McDonald's, and I never got one. And I put in hours, and the grant proposals involved jumping through a lot of hoops. It was a big pain in the neck, and it was kind of like buying a lottery ticket. You did it, you invested time instead of money, but there was a letdown because it didn't come through. To win it, you had to be like getting struck by lightning. What I love about IPEI is that it's a sure thing. And I know that sounds strange, but it's so wonderful to come up with a good idea and say to yourself, I know if I can put this together in just the right way so that it's doable, so that I have the right plan, so I have the right objectives, I can put my ideas out there on this straightforward, uncomplicated grant proposal, and it helps me refine my thinking and target my goal. And then IPEI is going to say yes. And I love that because it means that I'm not taking precious teacher time that I could be investing in developing wonderful lessons for kids and wasting it. So that's also a really nice thing and not to be underestimated. And then the third thing that I wanted to say is that it stretches me to come up with really crackling good learning experiences for kids. 3 of the things that I'm going to mention that we've done, one of them had a sort of arc of time and then expired, but IPEI helped us to get it started. It was called Scrubs Club, and it was a program at the hospital for 8th graders at DeWitt Middle School who had an opportunity, because the hospital hosted us, to go up there, go through a series of experiences in the different departments, radiology, intensive care, emergency, and each week they would have an opportunity to learn from people there what they did at their jobs, and then for the last few weeks during their experience, they would shadow somebody. It was wonderful. The hospital did the lion's share of the work. We deeply appreciated it, and the startup money for IPEI helped us get the whole plan together because it involved a lot of coordinating. Unfortunately, it hasn't continued because the hospital staffing situation no longer makes that possible. But while it lasted, it really transformed the lives of a number of kids, and I just found out this week that one of our former students has decided on a career in nursing, and that this is one of the things that kept her in school. So that was delightful. 2 other things that we've done through IPEI, which have proven so lasting and valuable that the school district itself, through our superintendent's support, have continued these programs, are the Harlem Renaissance events at DeWitt Middle School and the Homespun Days events at DeWitt Middle School. And I want to thank both Dr. Pastel and Dr. Louvel Brown for their continuing support for this, which IPEI began. The Harlem Renaissance events allow us to spend some weeks with our students, giving them a wide range of experiences of that exciting time during the 1920s and 30s in the cities of the north of the United States, when the arts and the birth of jazz and political movements all came together to create a uniquely American and world-enriching experience. And we bring people in. We bring in jazz performers, we bring in a swing dance instructor, we bring in art historians to share art, we bring in a lot of different kinds of people, and the kids get a taste of it. They get physically involved, they put projects together, we have a great big open house, and it's wonderful. We've been doing it now for a long time, about a decade. The Homespun Days was our attempt to find something that would be similarly educational in a hands-on with presenters sort of way for the 7th graders, and it's taking a look at the history of our region in the 1840s and what it was like for people to have a self-sufficient lifestyle, to support themselves as farmers and as people who made the things they need for everyday life. And we've brought in wonderful presenters, thank you to IPEI, and we're expanding on it and making it more interdisciplinary. This is a newer program. But last year, for example, I don't know if you even noticed him, we had a farrier drive his wagon and horses all the way from Brooktondale to DeWitt Middle School so he could show our students with a portable forge how to fit a horseshoe to a horse. And that was one of a number of different presenters. It was a lovely experience. The kids were enthralled, and in the thank you letters that they wrote the year before, when he brought just one horse, when the horse decided to relieve itself. That was a dramatic event which many students had never observed before and was featured in a great many of the thank you letters. So a lot of humor comes out of this too. And I do want to say thank you to everybody who makes IPEI possible, because the kids just love it. Thanks.
Good evening again. I'd like to reintroduce myself. My name is Millicent Clark Maynard, and I did graduate from 2nd grade, and I'm currently teaching now 3rd grade. And I'm a 33-year veteran in the Ithaca City School District. So you see, it's possible to teach an old dog new tricks. I'm delighted. It's a pleasure to share my IPEI experience with you. My relationship with IPEI started back in 1999. And I have been totally committed to IPEI's mission. And that is leveling the playing fields for all children, not some children, but all children. I am an advocate of equity and access, and certainly all the programs that IPEI has promoted and encouraged my colleagues in the district to promote, particularly the Kids Discover the Trail, has certainly leveled the playing fields for all the students to experience all those wonderful sights in our community. And I am committed to making sure that all kids have that experience beyond the classroom walls as well as the school community. I was a recipient just recently of a $500 Red and Gold grant. And that grant was written with several parents and several colleagues at my school, Beverly J. Martin. And the title of that project is Math and Movement. And certainly our kids are very talented in the area of movement, and we need to keep our kids moving, learning, and continuing to grow. And it was a wonderful experience having a community partner like Susie Coons to work with. About a couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to travel to Albany, New York, to speak with officials at the State Education Department about that wonderful IPEI Red and Gold grant, Math and Movement. So you see, it goes beyond the local area. It goes beyond the school walls. It goes beyond what we consider to be something small, but something really great and priceless. I've since received also in the past 2 other grants, $1,500 grants. One in particular is character education, or character counts. And my whole entire school have embraced these wonderful concepts of diversity, celebration, assertion, communication. These are all wonderful goals that we want our young people to embrace and grow up with as we begin to prepare our students for a global society. Again, I want to thank the IPEI for encouraging me to stretch myself. I consider myself a 24/7 teacher, and you certainly fit in that category as an organization that's 24/7, committed to equity and access, committing to leveling the playing fields for all children. And I thank you 1,000 times. And you say 15 and forward, you're going to be here much longer, because what the impact that you've had on all students here in the Ithaca City School District will go beyond your 15 years. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Bill Foster, AKA the Science Monster. I don't know how you guys found that out. I'm here with the Cayuga Lake Floating Classroom Project, one of the community collaborators here to testify tonight. The goal of our organization is to make sure that all students in the Ithaca District and in districts throughout our watershed and our area have a chance to get out on Cayuga Lake and into our streams and really participate in hands-on, real-world learning experiences. So since 2003, we've been taking students out, about 1,500 a year from different districts, and we try to get all of the 7th graders and a number of other students from the Ithaca District out on the lake, doing science cruises, learning about the science of Cayuga Lake and our Finger Lakes. A few years ago, we also added a program called Trout in the Classroom. With the help of Trout Unlimited, we bring aquariums and live trout into classrooms and help kids raise them, learn about them, and then release them to local streams and develop some connections with our local waterways. And along with my other moniker, I'm also known to many students and kids around town as the Trout Guy. So I got a couple of nicknames. There are a number of organizations around the world that are similar to the Floating Classroom in the sense that they take students out onto the ocean or onto lakes on boats and teach them about marine science and marine ecology. Most of those organizations are sponsored by universities, specific agencies like the EPA. We're a community organization. We're a community-based organization. We want to keep it that way because we want to make sure that we provide a platform for people from all walks of life in our community to get involved and to lend their expertise and their skills and their interests to the public education experience. So while we're bringing community resources into the classroom, that's our goal, we're also depending on the community to support us. And the Ithaca Public Education Initiative has been tremendous in that regard, incredibly important to our existence. And teachers who work with us time and again, as we've heard, time and again, they have gotten support from the Education Initiative, not just for field trips, but to create new programs and to develop them and assess them. So every time when we do a program, every year, we do it a little bit better. And we work with the teachers so that the students have a better and better experience every year. Continuous improvement. I've got a couple of examples I'm going to share really briefly. Working with DeWitt, with DeWitt students and Yvette DeBoer at DeWitt and her teaching team, and Susie Mills, who was at Boynton and her teaching team. They've both worked really hard with the support of Ithaca Public Education Initiative, community collaboration grants and teacher grants to take what originated as just a field trip onto Cuba Lake to do science on the MV Handle on our boat. Now their students, along with coming out on the lake, they paddle dragon boats. They visit the wastewater treatment plant and learn where our water goes when it goes down the drain, how it ends up in the lake and what happens to it there. They visit watershed farms. They Skype from the boat to the classroom so they can collaborate on their learning experience and figure out what to look for next. So by the time they're done with that experience now, it's not just a science field trip. They have gotten to the point where they have a real feel for the role that Cuba Lake plays and our rivers play in our community and how we can protect those. And they've done it in a very active, collaborative way. It's powerful stuff. There are teachers like Jen Wilkie at South Hill School and Jane Port at Bell Sherman who have helped us take the Trout in the Classroom program to the next level. With IPEI's support, they have brought in professional artists like Camille Doucette, who comes in and does scientific illustration with their students, that's science and art together, using live trout as subject matter. So their kids are learning scientific illustration now. It's a fantastic opportunity. And these things would not be happening if it wasn't for Ithaca Public Education Initiative in the background, supporting these creative ideas and these new projects. So on behalf of our entire committee, the Floating Classroom Committee, I want to thank IPEI for being there for the last 15 years, and we're looking forward to working with them and with all the people here to make sure that our students continue to have really engaging, educational, fun experiences out in the real world with science and art, technology, and everything. So thank you, IPEI.
Hi, I'm Charlie Troutman with the Science Center down the road and also associated with the Discovery Trail. And it is such an honor to be able to be here with all of you this evening and to share a few thoughts about the Discovery Trail and the Kids Discover the Trail program with you. All of you in the room know about Kids Discover the Trail, but you may not know how unique this program really is. And I can tell you that there's nothing like this anywhere in the U.S. and, in fact, anywhere in the world. All museums have field trip programs. There is nothing that approaches this program in terms of its reach and its depth. It all started about 8 years ago with a community roundtable meeting, and I remember Terry Burns, after that meeting, approached the Discovery Trail and said, you know, we've got this amazing resource out there, and we've got all these kids that would love to make use of it. How can we get together and connect this? So we did. We made the connection, and as you all know, it's a chance for every kid in the district, regardless of means, to discover the world, whether it's art or history or science or literature, right here in their own backyard. It's an amazing program. And where are we now? Well, as of this year, we have now served 15,000 kids in field trips to the Discovery Trail. We are so honored to be able to work with Terry Burns and Jennifer Engel and Mary Granger and all of the other people at IPEI that has such a vision and care for their community to make this all happen. And I've got to say, it's one of the things that makes Ithaca wonderful, and it's one of the reasons that my wife Nancy and I are so proud to call Ithaca our home.
Before joining Kionics in an earlier life, I was Director of Career Services for several leading colleges, both here in Ithaca and in Washington, D.C. When I met with students about stepping from career or from college to career, our initial discussions would always focus on one thing, and that was skills assessment. From my perspective, the goal was not merely the job, but the goal was to succeed in the job. Success in today's global economy requires a set of life skills that go far beyond the 3 R's that prevailed when I was a student long ago, namely reading, writing, and arithmetic. These aren't enough to prepare children for today's challenges and tomorrow's innovation. 21st century employers are looking for 21st century schools to cultivate 21st century skills in such things like communication skills, and cultural sensitivity for business relation management, the ability to think clearly and reason effectively to help drive business decisions, problem-solving capabilities that result in high-quality solutions that nurture innovation, the capacity to work successfully in both the team environment and individually to discern and apply business intelligence, adaptability, self-motivation, and productivity in a fast-paced environment, and the facility to deliver superior results. Programs such as IPEI are tackling this matter of preparedness straight on in our middle schools and our high schools across the country. Studies support the notion that the most effective way to get students interested in technology is to get them involved in it, hands-on. IPEI's supportive programs such as Code Red Robotics and the students of Project Lead the Way do just that, and the outcomes speak for themselves. Greg Galvin, Kionics' president and CEO, told me about a discussion he'd had with a young student involved in Code Red Robotics. She told him that she had never considered a career in engineering, but because of her experience with the robotics team, she's applied to RPI to study engineering. You can't accomplish that in a classroom. Another high school student, Carl Volkman, was a Project Lead the Way student before entering Cornell University's College of Engineering and also interning at Kionics. Carl describes Project Lead the Way as a high-quality program with well-taught, truly engaging classes that stimulated his interest in engineering, provided him with academic and experiential tools, and offered him the opportunity to test what he had learned. Carl said further, and I quote, "In all my classes at Cornell, I have met maybe 3 people who were as lucky as I was to have these opportunities in high school. I strongly feel that Project Lead the Way provided the foundation that has given me an advantage at Cornell." Careers in technology generally require a college education and sometimes graduate level education. Therefore, the objective at the high school level has to be to engage students and to nurture their interest in pursuing further education. Programs like Code Red Robotics do that and more. Experiential learning not only encourages continued learning, it exposes students to real-world skills that will determine if a person succeeds in the workforce. Problem-solving skills, leadership skills, team-building skills, public speaking and communication skills, promotional skills, and skills of persuasion. Kionics is very pleased to be able to support Code Red Robotics and other programs that help motivate students to pursue careers in technology and to be highly successful in those careers. We're proud to be a business partner in preparing our next generation of leaders. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon, Andrea, Millie, Bill, Charlie, and Jeanette. I must say...
No, sorry. I didn't hear Sharon, that's all.
Sharon, did I you know, I must say, I've been on this board for a while. I never really thought of ourselves as dance partners, and I for sure never thought of ourselves as WD-40 or duct tape. But I'll take it. At this time, I would like to welcome to the stage Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Lavelle Brown, Board of Education President, Mr. Rob Ainsley, and I believe they will introduce our President and our Vice President as well.
Thanks, everyone, and good evening. A very long time ago, I had the privilege of attending public school in Ithaca, and what was true then is still true today. Academic excellence has always distinguished the Ithaca City School District, but it is the extras, the value added, that makes this district special. Over the last 15 years, no organization has done more to make that student experience special than IPEI. In recognition of the contributions and work performed by IPEI on behalf of the students of the Ithaca City School District, the Board of Education wishes to present the following resolution. And if I may, I would ask Terry Burns and Jennifer Engel to please come forward. And instead of borrowing Dr. Pastel's glasses, I'm going to go ahead and ask Dr. Brown to read the resolution and please come forward.
I'm honored to use these young eyes, Rob, to read this beautiful resolution.
It was a really long time ago, Dr. Brown.
I should have warned him. He's asking a former kindergarten teacher to do a read aloud. So I'm going to attempt to keep this as adult-like as possible. Board of Education Resolution of Appreciation for IPEI. Whereas Ithaca Public Education Initiative has worked tirelessly since 1996 to promote the Ithaca City School District community by enhancing the educational experiences for all district students and teachers inside and outside of the classroom. Whereas IPEI has encouraged and nourished innovative partnerships between and among teachers, students, community members, colleges, foundations, and businesses to advance the educational opportunities for all members of the ICSD community. Whereas IPEI has been an integral partner in the Ithaca City School District, demonstrating a high level of responsiveness, integrity, community engagement, collaboration, and creativity for the past 15 years. Whereas IPEI has expanded its programming initiatives and increased the size and number of grants for teachers to fund innovative, world-class curriculum projects that enhance the quality of life for our entire district. And now therefore be it resolved, the Ithaca City School District Board of Education hereby recognizes and salutes IPEI for their outstanding service and devotion to the future of our children on this occasion of their 15th anniversary.
Oh boy, that's all we can say. Oh boy. The successes of IPEI over these last 15 years, it doesn't happen because of a few people. It happens because of a community. Without teachers' good ideas, without donors who truly care, without board members who come to meetings after meetings after meetings to try to figure out what's the best way to get things done, without community members who step up and say, I'd like to try that and share what I know, IPEI doesn't happen. So the successes of the past 15 years are due to all the people that David Shoemaker made get out of their seats before, and I'm sure he'll have you getting up once again. And there is a future for IPEI as well. So thank you. Karen?
Since I'm the only thing standing between you and the cake and also the drawing for the iPad, I'm going to be very brief. But we invited you here tonight to hear about how proud we are to be involved in our schools for the last 15 years. But we have one other request, which is we need you for the next 15 years and for the next 15 years after that. And one of the things that we want to do, we always like to reach out to the community to find out what you're thinking about where we should be going and what kinds of projects we could do and what kinds of connections you can help us make. So you have in your program a yellow card. So there's no such thing as a free lunch. You've got some homework. We'd love for you to fill that out, both sides. There's different questions. And if you can leave it with us tonight, great. If you want to send it in to us, that's also more than acceptable. So we thank you. We look forward to working with all of you in the next 15 years. And thanks very much for coming tonight. And now David has the big announcement.
Yes, indeed. We do have one last piece of business before we adjourn. As Terry alluded to, one lucky member of the audience tonight